What if I told you that getting promoted in HR is usually the easy part, but being taken seriously afterward is where most HR professionals struggle? Maybe you've been working in HR for years. You've handled employee relations issues, you've supported managers, you've learned policies, compliance, recruiting, onboarding, performance management. But when you think about becoming an HR manager, there's still a question in the back of your mind. Will people actually see me as leadership? Because the reality is that many HR professionals earn the title, but never fully transition from HR practitioner to HR leader. And when that happens, they spend years feeling overlooked, second guessing themselves, and stuck proving themselves. I'm Bryttani Graddick. I'm a Chief Administrative Officer, HR Leadership Coach, and creator of the HR Leadership Accelerator Program, where I help ambitious HR professionals develop the confidence, the influence, and the leadership skills that you need to grow into higher level HR roles. One of the biggest mistakes that I see aspiring HR leaders make is focusing only on getting promoted instead of preparing yourself to lead once you get there. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the key shifts that successful HR professionals make before they become HR managers and what leadership teams are actually looking for when deciding who's ready for greater responsibility. Because if you understand these shifts now, you'll be far ahead of most people competing for the same opportunities. The biggest misconception about becoming an HR manager is that it simply is the next step in the HR career ladder. It's not. It's a completely different way of thinking, communicating, and contributing to the business. So let's start there. Before we jump in, I'd love to know, what's the biggest challenge that you think you'll face as an HR manager? Let me know down in the comments. It's so important to remember to stop preparing for the job and start preparing for leadership. Most aspiring HR managers and first-time HR managers focus so much on the tasks. And it's really easy to get stuck there. And we'll talk about that in a prior point I'm going to make in this video. But I think getting stuck in the tasks is what makes you so focused on administration only, and people see you as administration only. And the most visible part of our job is answering questions, is handling issues, is putting out fires, is recruiting, is terminations, is all these things. That's fine. And I get, as an aspiring HR professional, as a first-time HR manager, what you're doing is you're trying to keep your department running. And that is very valuable work. But when you stay there, when you get stuck there, that's where the problem shifts. You can't get stuck in that mindset because people are not going to see you beyond that if you're not showing up as that powerful one that you are. So what's the alternative? Instead of focusing on the tasks, you want to focus on the outcomes. And we'll talk about this in the video as well, but the goal is thinking about not just doing the thing right now, but ask yourself, not what do I need to do, but what happens because of what I do? Or why am I doing this thing? What am I trying to shift? Technical HR knowledge alone is not sufficient. Again, anyone can do the job of HR if all you're focusing on is just doing HR. A robot can do that. An AI machine, an AI agent can do that. Your value as an HR leader, especially as a first-time HR manager, long-term HR manager, your role is to use the nuance that you have, the relationships that you build to make meaningful decisions, meaningful impact to the people that you serve, because you know how it's going to benefit them in the long run. Not in a transactional way, not in a numbers type of way, but in a relationship-based way. Keep in mind that your leaders are evaluated for leadership readiness separately from your readiness to do your job. It's one thing to do your job, and what got you there to the role is going to be enough to put you there, but it's not going to be enough to get you to the manager's level. So being a practitioner of HR, a person who leads HR, is two completely different things. So you've got to think about, okay, what am I doing right now that's really making my department better? What am I doing that's impacting the business overall? What am I doing to have a bigger impact, not just on myself and making my job easier, my life easier, but impacting others around me? The point here is to shift from just doing things to owning your outcomes. If you focus all your tasks on just getting things done, one thing after the next thing, it's just a checklist every day, that's a rat race. No one wants to do that. That's not fun for you. That's not impactful for the team. So that's not beneficial for your organization. So, when you think about the outcomes, like, why am I doing this? What am I moving? What am I improving? That's fun for you. That's impactful to people around you. And that gives you that visibility that you need to really stand out. Bottom line here, the people who get promoted the fastest are often the ones who are already solving higher level problems. Another thing that's really underestimated when it comes to getting to the next level of your HR career, you must understand how the business makes money. Many HR professionals understand HR, but very few HR professionals understand the business. Now, like I said before, what got you here is not necessarily going to get you there. So you know HR, you do HR well, but bridging that gap between what takes you to be successful in your department to what the business makes it successful to be a money-making machine, those are two completely different things, and you must bridge that gap. The reason why understanding the business separates you from HR professionals who don't understand the business is because think about it. When you're coming to those senior leadership meetings, the people who have a financial background, like the CFO types, people who have an operations background, people who have a background in whatever the business uses to make money, they have their own perspective to bring. They're bringing valuable data, valuable insights, valuable research sometimes to the conversations. But if all your conversations are around what have you done or how people feel or, just the run-of-the-mill things that must take your word to get done, again, that's administrative work. So you've got to find ways to bridge the gap. This is the work that I'm doing right now, but here is how it's impacting the business. Here's how what we're doing is going to impact the bigger picture. Leadership teams trust professionals who understand the organizational goals, because when you're bringing those new ideas, you're not looking to only benefit yourself, benefit the work that you're doing, benefit your department. You're looking at the bigger picture. Thinking about it. Last time you had a big ask for your CEO or for your senior leadership team, who benefited from the rollout of the thing you're trying to suggest? Was it only an HR function? Was it only something that you would benefit from individually? Or was it something that could benefit the company, not only in the near future, but in the far future as well? Regardless of what type of industry you're working within right now, whether it's service-based, whether it's technology, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, manufacturing, whatever it is, you got to understand how your business makes money so that when you're implementing new programs or you're suggesting new initiatives, you can talk about how it'll impact the bigger picture overall. If you want leadership to take you seriously, you need to understand what keeps your leadership team awake at night. One of the things I promote heavily with my clients is understanding the need to develop strategic thinking before you need it. Most HR professionals wait until they're promoted to start thinking about being strategic, and that's backwards. Why would someone trust you with the responsibility of being a forward thinker, a future-oriented person if you're not doing that work right now? They wouldn't. And so that's why we got to find ways to dig deep in your current role, make capacity for your current role and also capacity for your future opportunities right now. One of the things I always tell my clients and tell the people that I work with day to day, your job will never be any easier than it is right now. If you are drowning in your work right now, that's a signal for you to get in control of what the things you're in your control, things you're supposed to do. Because if you want a bigger responsibility, if you want more things to do in the future, but you're drowning in this task-based work already, that's not a recipe for success. It's a recipe for a disaster. So one of the first things that I think you should do, one thing I work with my clients on closely to reframe the way you think about your work is to categorize it. I am a visual learner, so helping me to break down the things that I do in a way that helps me to understand it better and digest it better, I believe it'll help you as well. So I talk about my HR efficiency pyramid on almost every video, but it's a framework that I created a few years ago to talk to HR leaders about how can you be strategic. I think we've all been challenged or in meetings and conferences and seminars about ways to be more strategic as an HR leader. But what does that mean? No one can tell you what it is. They're telling you, oh, you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do that. But how do you think about it? What frameworks can you put into practice to apply it day to day? So here's a framework for you to use. It's something I've been working on for several years now. HR efficiency pyramid. So it's a pyramid with 4 levels. The bottom level is the administrative work, task focused work. This is where most HR professionals get stuck because you're working in the business all day, every day, and you're doing this, keep the department running. You're answering questions, you're putting out fires, you're doing things, you're processing payroll, you're processing benefits, you're doing all the things that are required for a department to be an HR department. If you don't do it, then your department's going to be not successful. Okay, that's great to do that. You've been doing it for so many years, but you don't find it being valued in the workplace because it's not valuable work. And I hate to say it that way, but if you stay there, it's not the highest level work that it could be because your senior leadership team, they don't value this amount of work because this work feels clerical. This work feels administrative. It doesn't feel business aligned. You got to work up the pyramid. So beyond your tasks, on top of that, you got your processes. So you're looking to say, okay, well, not only am I doing this bit and bits administration, but every quarter I'm doing this process, or every year doing open enrollment I'm doing this, or every year doing open enrollment I'm making sure that I get all of my T's crossed and my I's dotted by handling these things. You're putting processes around the work that you do to make it more manageable. Not only does this help you in your day-to-day, but it helps you when you're getting ready to hire someone for your team in a few years, or someone's going to work your absence, you go on maternity leave or some other medical leave. Putting processes around your work shows that you put intention around it, shows that you understand it, because I really believe you can't teach something you don't know. You can't talk about something you've never done or thought about. So putting processes around it really helps you just kind of ingrain yourself in your department, make sure it's a well-oiled machine. That's the whole point of this level of the process. That's great. That is a step above a lot of HR professionals, but you cannot stop there. On top of the processes, you've got to look at your data. So around the work you're doing, how efficient are you? How effective are you? And what are you measuring that by? Are you measuring it by yourself a year ago? Are you measuring it against your peers in the industry, peers in your geographic region, peers in, your community? Like, how are you measuring yourself against benchmarks, against statistics? Pick a comparison and stick with that, but decide for yourself and for your department what works best. How will you know that you've been successful? That's the whole point of looking at your data. And then that top level of the pyramid, you're looking at business aligned work. So not only are you doing the thing, not only do you have processes around the thing, not only do you know the thing is working well, but this is how it benefits the people in the workplace. This is how it benefits your leadership team, your senior leadership team, your frontline managers, your frontline employees, and everyone in between, your stakeholders, everyone in between. So again, when you're thinking about how can you up level your work and be strategic, you can't wait to do this work when you get the title. Because if you do, you feel behind. And I feel like I talk to a lot of people day to day who have waited too late. And again, this is where I'm here to help. I created this entire channel because I know that we are being challenged as HR professionals to keep up, to bring great ideas. But it's hard to do that if you don't have anyone pouring into you. So that's my whole purpose of this video and this channel. God put it on my heart, just serve HR professionals in this way, whether we work together or not. Developing the strategic thinking is so important because it helps you to think ahead. So if you weren't thinking ahead, you wouldn't care about the data. If you were thinking ahead, you wouldn't care about the process because you're so stuck in tunnel vision doing what's right in front of you. So opening up your mind helps you to not only think ahead, but this is where that visibility comes in as well. You doing this work helps you to position yourself with other leaders to have very powerful and fruitful conversations. Bottom line here, strategic leaders don't just identify problems. They recognize patterns and opportunities to solve those problems. Something that many HR professionals underestimate, you must build credibility through your ability to communicate well. At the end of the day, leadership is influence, and the way we influence is often stemmed by the way we communicate. So our ability to say powerful things, persuasive things, informative things really serves us well or not so well, depending on how we do it. Backing off of that prior point that I made about understanding how you're working strategically, working up the pyramid, your confidence sometimes is undermined or lessened because you don't understand the work that you're doing. But when you do this deep work, when you know that you're working up the pyramid with across competencies within your HR profession, within your HR department, then you have that confidence to know that what you're talking about is powerful, it's relevant, and it's very valuable. Sometimes I see HR professionals waiting for that big presentation to prepare their executive presence or to prepare for themselves to speak powerfully and to show up in a powerful way. But again, this work happens well beyond that. Just like you can't wait becoming a leader to become strategic, you can't wait to have those big opportunities to speak in front of crowds to then start developing your executive presence. You've got to do that work before you get to those big places. You can be the nicest person in the world, but if you're not confident in how you're communicating, you're not communicating the right things, you will be overlooked. The way you communicate often determines how seriously your expertise is taken by others. We talked about a lot so far, so I want to take a beat and just ask a quick question. So which skills do you believe will be the most important in your transition into HR management? Business acumen, communication, strategic thinking, or leadership confidence? Drop that down below. As you're transitioning from an individual contributor to strategic leadership, you must be known for solving big problems. This is important from a management perspective, but then also a leadership perspective. In general, managers are expected to solve problems. Leaders are expected to solve the right problems and to know what are the right problems to solve. So that goes back to that prior point as well. Again, we always go back to the pyramid. If you're not looking at the data around the work that you're doing, you won't know what to improve, what to fix, what to measure. So again, you can't just do the things in HR. You've got to truly do your work. The funny thing about solving big problems is you can't do that in a silo. You can't do that working alone in the lab. Solving big problems, solving significant problems that matter to the business, that keep business leaders up at night, requires you to communicate and to connect with other business leaders, other people in the business. And this is where the visibility kicks in. Solving one-off issues is fine, it's powerful, it's very impactful. But when you can find ways to solve that recurring issue that no one has figured out a way to solve, that just keeps popping up from department to department, manager to manager, and you can put a process around it to truly elevate everyone involved, that's true leadership. Leadership notices people who reduce organizational friction. I knew this to be true, or I felt this to be true when I was rising through the ranks and becoming a senior leader in HR. But now that I'm a chief right now, I understand it wholeheartedly. If there's an issue needs to be fixed and a member of my team brings to me to solve and they want to solve it themselves, I would more rather trust the person who not only can see the issue, come up with a plan to fix the issue, but also be able to rally around people, formal leaders and informal leaders, to fix the problem collaboratively, than another person who might want to fix the issue with a sledgehammer and by any means necessary. Again, your ability to truly connect with other people is really paramount, because without that, it's going to be difficult for you to build that leadership that you really want. The fastest way to get promoted is often being indispensable in the areas that matter most. One of the modules in my program is all about networking, building your network, because it's so important to build relationships before you need them. Many HR leaders focus only on performance, but like I keep saying in this video, you can't do it alone. If you're looking to grow and excel in your career, get to the next level, you can't do that just by focusing on what you bring to the table. Again, you've got to work collaboratively. You got to have the visibility and so partner with other departments, other department leaders. When you do this and you do this well, not only do you have the visibility that you build, but you're building trust in the process. And this trust that you're building is invaluable. The trust that you're building is going to serve you so well, whether you know it or not. To make opportunity for people to speak in rooms where you're not in, for people to suggest you for working on different projects, to partner with you on a project that they're working on and bring you into the fold to figure out, okay, well, hey, what's the HR perspective on this? That is invaluable. When people start thinking about the HR impact and they see you as the expert in the room when it comes to that subject matter, you're the subject matter expert of your department, that's powerful. It's important to consider relationships within your company, but also outside of your company. So whether it's in your local SHRM chapter, whether it's in your local employee associations, with other community groups that you're a part of, networking is not just going to nice dinners or social gatherings. Networking is truly about what can you bring to the table for someone else? How can you benefit someone else's network? How can you help them to bridge a gap that they might have a need for bringing as well? So think about it this way. Not only people in your current company can help promote that next opportunity for you, but people outside of the department, whether in your community, in your industry, in your profession as well. Your next opportunity is often connected to someone who already trusts your judgment. If you get nothing else from this video, I think this really sums it all up. Position yourself before the opening exists. Whether we're talking about influence, whether we're talking about being strategic, whether we're talking about communication, whether we're talking about relationship building, you cannot wait until you get there to start building these things. You must be building this in the background of all the things you're already doing right now. Which is why I say, again, if your role is never going to get any easier, it's going to get more challenging, new levels, new responsibilities, new opportunities. You've got to find ways to build capacity for yourself right now. The best HR opportunities are never won at the application stage. They're won beforehand. So they're won when you might even realize that you're winning it, when you're showing up powerfully, when you're changing a big problem, when you're able to implement an initiative that's going to have a major impact on the business. This is all just adding deposits in your bank, so to speak. If not for your current opportunity that you're in right now, your current company, you're building your toolkit and you're building your success story for your next opportunity, for interview feedback, for interview for you to talk about things where you're interviewing for your next opportunity. These are things in your track record. So in my program, I talk about ways to document this along the way, because if you don't in the real time, you're going to lose it. So we talk about ways to put things on paper, put things in a trackable way so you can always pull from them, whether you get down on yourself, whether you need a reminder of why you're doing this, whether you are promoting yourself in the future and you don't do it naturally for yourself, so it's going to be difficult to do in the moment. You've got to build the muscle of finding ways to showcase your success. Ultimately, your readiness for the next opportunity must be visible. Again, visible to yourself, but also your ability to communicate to someone else. Most promotion decisions are confirmation, not discovery of something new. If you want to transition into HR management and be taken seriously, focus less on getting the title and more on becoming the kind of leader that people already trust with greater responsibility. The title eventually catches up. If this video resonated with you, there's a good chance you're exactly the type of person I created the HR Leadership Accelerator for. Inside the program, I help ambitious HR professionals build the confidence, strategic thinking, visibility, and leadership skills needed to move the needle from being a capable HR professionals to a respected HR leader. Because career growth doesn't happen by accident. It's something you intentionally build. If you'd like to learn more about it, click the link down below or comment down below with HR Career Success, and I'll send you a link to book a one-on-one call with me. We can talk about your goals, your things you're going through right now in your career, and what you can do to bridge that gap. Now you know the path to HR management, but what if the bigger issue isn't the role? It's getting your current company to see your potential in the first place. My next video is one of the most important ones on this channel. How to get promoted in HR when your senior leader is not in your corner. It's practical and it's real. I'll see you there.